Hello. In our last video we made calla lilies, the fire dancing look. So today we're going to be making the bud that brings all of this together. To remind you of the colors that we used and our tools, let me tell you again. We're going to use a tapestry needle. Our crochet hook is a G 4.00 millimeter, a pair of scissors. The colors that we used was Michael's Impeccable Kelly Green, Michael's Impeccable Brights in Sunny Day. Here's another Michael's Impeccable in the color Butterscotch. We're running low, so I'm going to pull the label off. Michael's Impeccable in the color Lippy, and Red Heart Super Saver in the color Rogue. To begin, let's start with a magic circle. I'm going to go over a couple of fingers, go under your first one, pull it up, and do a chain stitch. Then we are going to chain 2. We're going to place a double crochet into our magic circle. So yarn over, go through the loop, bring up a loop, over 2, over 2. We're going to place 10 double crochets in total into our circle. I have 3 so far. Continue on with 7 more. At the end of this row, go ahead and pull our magic circle closed, and in the top of the double crochet, let's make our slip stitch. Chain 1. In the same stitch that we did our slip stitch, we're going to place a double or a half double crochet. There's 1, yarn over through our stitch, pull up a loop, yarn through all 3. There's 2. Continue on, and we'll have 2 for each stitch around, and that way we'll have 20 half double crochets at the end of this row, and I will meet you there. Do not finish the row with a slip stitch. I'll show you what to do then. At the end, we're going to begin a half double crochet that will go into this final stitch for the chain 2 or the chain 1 that we had. So like you're beginning a half double crochet, drop your light yellow, and with your gold color we're going to pick it up so you actually have the 2 light yellows and the 1 gold on your hook, and then bring it through all 3. Now on the back you want to snug up your previous stitches, bring them up, and let's do a slip stitch into the top of the half double crochet of the first one of the row. And then we're going to chain 1. You can let these drop and we can weave them in later. Now if you remember in our calla lily fire dancing, the flower, we doubled it. In this case we're just doing the bud, so we're just going to use single layers. So our first one, let's do a half double crochet in that first stitch. Now we're going to start dropping our stitches. So like we're going to do a half double crochet, drop it down, bring it through, and come on up. Now we will not have an exact number of 20 going around. We want to continue to make this to lay flat. So use your imagination. If you want to do 2 drops like I'm doing here, do 2 drops. And this is what we are doing with painting with the yarn. Now if you want to go in between some of these stitches and make a different look, do it. This is what makes our crochet ours. So continue around, and I'm just placing my stitches anywhere I feel will make it look like there's veins coming in. Alright, so continue around and I will meet you here at the end. Do not slip stitch. I'll show you what to do next. At the end of this row, we're going to slip stitch into the top of the half double crochet, the first one that we made, and then chain 1. This is what I have just by adding the extra in various locations. So to do this row, we're going to do the same thing. Add our half double crochet and bring some of the veins down again, but this time with just the gold. And sometimes you may not want to drop it, and sometimes you may want to drop it even further. That's all right. This is your flower, and playing with the yarn to give you an idea of what you would like to do. You can just play with it. That's all I can suggest. So let's continue around with just the gold, and I will meet you at the end of the row. This is what I have so far. I'm at the end of my row, and I'm going to slip stitch to the top of the half double crochet of the previous row. Now this row is where we will change colors, but first we're going to do some gold stitching across the top. Now remember that this is a bud, so we're trying to keep it a young, tender looking calla lily, fire dancing. So we don't want to add too much too soon, and since the red is what accents it so beautifully, I didn't want to overpower it with too much like I did with the bigger flower. So adding our different lengths, remember we're not doing an exact place for the stitching. Let's see, I've done probably, let me put a stitch right here, finger's length. So do like the top third, I guess. And then on our next stitch, we're going to start with our double crochet, and then we're going to add our red. Okay, so here is our red, and let's pull it up. And we're going to do as we did before, go ahead and finish off our half double crochet, and then tighten our stitches down. And then in our next stitch, we're going to, I'm going to drop down, come up, and do our half double crochet. That'll help lock that first set of stitches in. And let's go ahead and start dropping our color into our flower. So continue with the red till we get to where we begin with the gold, and I'll meet you there. As you can see, I have gone all the way around up to our gold. Now we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch here. Now our little bud here does not get the point, and let me remind you of that. See our little point from our mature calla lily? It doesn't get one of those. So we're just going to continue around right here, and we're going to turn our work. Well, here, let's turn it the other direction, so that way the yarn will go under your work. Now you can see I haven't woven in my end pieces, but here we're going to do our reverse single crochet. So make your stitch just a little, the loop on your hook just a little bit bigger, and then go back and then pick up that loop. The first one will be kind of odd, but it'll work, and then go through like you're finishing a single crochet. Now the rest of this will be easier. Go through our next stitch and pull up a loop, and complete the stitch. This is also known as the crab stitch, but mostly universally known as the reverse single crochet. So we go through the loop, pull up, and complete. We have a few stitches left here. Okay, and I'll stay with you till I get here to the end. I have 2 more stitches left. Okay, so go into the red. We're not going to go around, but go into the red, a couple of stitches, and then cut our yarn and pull it through. Don't pull it through too tight. We're going to take this end and weave it in like we're going to do with the rest of our ends. So I have out my tapestry needle, and for the one that we just finished, I'm going to go through the red only to bring it through a couple of stitches. And since this one is the last one, we want to lock it. So after you come down here to the end, go over the top of it and under the next one and through. And don't pull it tight, just enough to snug it up. Okay, so do that with the rest of your tails here. I was going to show you real quick the one in the very center from our magic circle. You want to go around the circle again. It's always good to go around twice, because with the magic circle being the foundation of your work, you really don't want it to come apart, because if it does, it's not easy putting those stitches back together. So once you've made a complete circle going around, you need to lock it in, so go backwards a few stitches and then go over that again, and that will definitely lock it in. Okay, so complete the tails, and I'll see you in a second. Alright, here we are with our color Lippy, which is a pink color. I'm going to start with a slip knot. So form an X, go under the first, pull out the second, and tighten it down. We're going to chain 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And in the second chain from the hook, remember we don't count the one on the hook, 1, 2, we're going to make a single crochet. So continue down the chain making single crochets, and you should have 10 when you get to the end. At the end, let's cut a little bit of a long tail, because we're going to use that to wrap it on the bottom, and we're just going to pull it through and tighten it up. So let's place the gold is the center top, so we want to place this about right here, and then we're going to roll it so that the little stem just barely peeks out. If we need to pull it down a little, we can do that too. We don't want it showing too much. And then we're going to roll it tight. Then with our pink, our long pink, wrap it tight. And this will hold it in place. Here we got our little tail, but we'll use that when we're done. Okay, so I'm at the end of my tail. Let's put a square knot in it. Right over left and left over right. Okay, and here we have our little bud. It's so cute. Look how it looks next to the other one. Alright, the last thing we're going to do is the green part. So let's get out our green, and you can cut these to about 1/2 inch. With our green, let's start with a magic circle. We can have a small tail. Wrap it around and pull up a loop and complete like you're doing a chain stitch. Chain 2, and into the circle we're going to add 8 double crochets. 1, 2, and I will meet you after 8. After completing the 8, let's pull our magic circle. We do not have to pull it very tight, just enough to form the circle. And we're going to slip stitch into the top of the first double crochet. Chain 2. Now you'll notice that I have my finger in the center. It helps me to hold it. So in our first double crochet where we did our slip stitch, add our first double crochet for this row, and 1 double crochet for each around, so we should have 8 when we are completed with this row. Slip stitch into the top of the first double crochet, and we're going to do the same thing again for this row. Go ahead and go around and do 8 double crochets. To complete this, single crochet into the top of the double crochet, cut it and tighten it, and I'm going to place my hook through the bottom. Sorry, I was out of camera range again. I do that a lot. And pull the green down to the outside. And let's take our little bud and place it onto our cover onto it. Okay, and here we have our bud. Our little bud is complete. It's nice to see the little veins that he has and the different coloring, and showing how he's trying to grow up so he can be just like his bigger calla lily and show his beauty when he gets to be older. Thank you for watching this tutorial. I hope to see you when I create the basket that I'm going to place this on. If not, enjoy your calla lily bud. I'll have a link for the calla lilies through my channel with YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. I enjoyed spending my time doing this and creating this for you. I hope you make one and share it with us here in YouTube or in Facebook. My Facebook is under Garnet is a Jewel, and I would love to see what you have done there. Thank you so much again. Have a great day.